Lucasfilm chose to de-age Mark Hamill for the Luke Skywalker scene in the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Many people have praised how well the CGI looked, while others, such as myself, wish they had just recasted Luke. However, we aren't here today to debate whether they should have done it or not. We're here to compare the de-aging effort to some past examples in Star Wars. We'll primarily be looking at two things: lighting and movement. Limiting these two factors can make the de-aged character look more realistic. As far as de-aging goes, Luke from The Mandalorian looks pretty good, especially when he doesn't speak or move his head much. It's really when he does either of those that makes the CGI look worse. The movement of the face just looks off to me, but I do think Luke looks good considering that he's fairly well lit in the scene. Anyway, let's get to the comparisons, shall we? First up, we have Grand Moff Tarkin from Rogue One. At the time, this was pretty controversial. Tarkin looked passable at times, mostly when the lighting was dark during his first scene. Though every scene after that he looks worse and worse, I find. Like right here. He looks awful here, mostly because his face is very well lit. The scene isn't using the darkness to help mask the animation on his face anymore like in the prior scene. That is the key, people. Darkness. The technology isn't there yet to be able to perfectly replicate human faces and how they move with CGI, so it is advisable to supplement the CGI with darker lighting and shadows. I think that when Rogue One utilizes the shadow cover, Tarkin looks almost as good as Peter Cushing himself, but when it does not, he looks like a PS4 cutscene. Luke from The Mandalorian generally looks better than Tarkin, I'd say. He is even better exposed by the light in his scene and still looks pretty solid. Next we have Princess Leia from the end of Rogue One, and this one is not close. I just have the urge to gag whenever I see this scene. She just looks so lifeless from her mouth up to her eyes, and her skin looks all plasticky. And wouldn't you know it, but this is probably the brightest the lighting of any of the scenes we're going to go over is. It is just the definition of uncanny valley. The only reason I didn't absolutely hate this scene was because Carrie Fisher had just passed away like a week before this movie came out, and I thought it was a nice tribute. However, Luke's scene in The Mandalorian is easily better than this, no question. Now we jump all the way to the rise of Skywalker. This is one of my favorite scenes of this movie, which honestly isn't saying much. I think Luke looks absolutely incredible here, though yes, the scene is very dark and Luke doesn't move very much once his face is revealed. Also, half of his face is entirely shrouded by shadow. That being said, it looks almost like Luke from Return of the Jedi. I think this 3 seconds of de-aged Luke is the most realistic we've seen, even if it does benefit from the darker lighting. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for Leia. Even in the dark, she looks nowhere near as good as Luke. In fact, it doesn't even look that much like Carrie Fisher. She just looks off and unrealistic here. Again, Luke from The Mandalorian is definitely better than Leia in this scene. So yes, Luke from The Mandalorian looks better than almost every other de-aging attempt Star Wars has made. The only exception would be Luke from The Rise of Skywalker, but that is extremely circumstantial as the scene was very dark and Luke doesn't really move there. And this is expected, you know, the progression of technology. And while I don't think the technology is there yet to have de-aged characters play a significant role in a story, it certainly is trending in the right direction. Maybe in another 10 years we'll hardly be able to tell the difference. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. What's your favorite Star Wars de-aging effort? Remember to like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. Anyway, I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the future.